Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start here. A family friend of Kelly Smith, Natasha Andrews, has told the court of what is a tumultuous relationship between Kelly Smith and her co-accused boyfriend, Jacquen Boete Appollis, in the Joshlin Smith case. Now, Andrews says, though she never asked Smith about her relationship, she's seen bruises on her. This afternoon saw Joshlin's mother break down. It's the first time she has done so since the beginning of the trial. Nasiphi Same has been monitoring proceedings and joins us now for an update on the trial. Nasiphi, just give us the latest with regards to this. The mother on the stand, ultimately a breakdown of what has really been the first time, ultimately, that we've seen such an emotional state from the mother.
Well, Arabil, if you remember last week during the in-law co-inspection, Kelly again broke down there as the community was chanting, asking where Joshlin is, as police officers, helped her get into the police van. But today, I suppose, we got to see a little bit of insight into some of the troubles that Kelly Smith was facing. And throughout the testimony today, we had a marathon of witnesses, about 4. And throughout those testimonies, Kelly had her arms folded and just listening attentively. And for the first time, when Natasha Andrews testified so far as the relationship that Kelly had with her boyfriend, Jacquen Appollis, including the tumultuous relationship she had with the father of her 2 children, and that is Josh MK. Saying that at some point it was so bad that social development had to intervene and take Joshlin out of that environment, and she would then be staying with Joshlin. She said at times the Andrews family would have Joshlin sometimes for a week, and at other times for a full month. There was a process of initiating an adoption process. The Andrews saying that they believed that they would be able to keep Joshlin safe and also provide for her needs. However, the parents of Joshlin, that is Josh MK, including Kelly Smith, backtracked and refused to go ahead with the adoption of Joshlin. We also heard the testimony of another family friend, or rather a former employer of Kelly, and how she described how Kelly and her children struggled to a point where she eventually opened her doors and employed Kelly to work as a domestic worker in her home. And at times when Kelly had a job or had found a job elsewhere as a domestic worker, Kelly would be dropping off the children at the house of a former employer for her to go seek work elsewhere. So it was quite a very emotional day in court today. At some point, we had to adjourn, court had to adjourn to allow for Kelly to gather herself and compose herself, and then we resumed with proceedings. However, today I would say that it was quite emotional, and it is the second time that we are seeing her break down once again during these proceedings.
You testified earlier that at some point Kelly was admitted to a shelter because of domestic violence issues with Josh.
Op 'n stadium was Kelly ingeneem by die institution in verband met mishandeling van 'n vrou, Josh.
Correct?
Is the rest?
Can you please tell the court what was the nature of the relationship between Kelly and Boete?
Wat was die verhouding tussen Kelly en Boete?
Die verhouding tussen Kelly en Boete was aan die begin baie goed.
The relationship between Kelly and Boete at the beginning was very good.
En later in die tyd toe dit begin is lyk of Boete en Kelly ook beklei, want Kelly het soms met haar woorde aangekom.
Later in the relationship, it appeared that Boete and Kelly were also fighting, because Kelly would sometimes come to my place with some wounds.
Arabile, that is a testimony by Natasha Andrews, and she was testifying that Kelly at some point went to a women's shelter and for abused women, but also the element of drug use between the couple, that is Kelly and Appollis, accused one. We heard last week from the various law enforcement officers or the police officers that attended to this particular investigation how much drugs the couple actually took on that particular day when Joshlin disappeared. So we do know, according to Natasha Andrews, that there was a point where Kelly was admitted into rehab to attend to her substance addiction.
Nasiphi, do we know what happens then tomorrow with regards to who's on the stand and how things fare from here?
Well, what I can say to you is that in the past week or just over a week, we've seen 8 witnesses take to the stand. As you do know that the NPA has indicated that they have about 90 state witnesses that they'd like to go through. However, as much as they said that they have 90 people that they've investigated or rather interviewed, the list might get cut shorter. Tomorrow, we are expecting a new witness. At this present moment, the state or the NPA has not communicated to us who will be taking the stand. However, today we had one law enforcement officer, or rather an officer detective constable from the FCS unit, and 3 civilians. One of the 3 people that testified today was the neighbor of Kelly, who was the lady where police found Kelly on Peter Mukaba Street when they were responding to the missing persons case. So tomorrow we can expect more people to take the stand. It does seem that the state has quite the number of witnesses that they would like to testify before the Western Cape High Court that is currently held in Saldanha Bay.
Nasiphi Same, thank you so much for that reporting then. The Joshlin Smith disappearance case still continuing out in Saldanha Bay. We'll continue to have stories and headlines for you with regards to that throughout this evening.